Hallo und herzlich willkommen bei Gold, Geld, Welt. Mein Name ist Florian Munsch und ich bin heute hier in München und treffe mich mit dem CEO, dem ehemaligen CEO von Fremont Gold. Er ist inzwischen immer noch der President und ich habe ihn dieses Jahr in Kanada kennengelernt, in Toronto. Und freue mich, dass er heute hier ist und wir die Möglichkeit haben, kurz über die Company zu sprechen und auch über den Goldmarkt an sich. So, Dennis, very nice to see you here.
Yes, and good morning. Good to see you again. Yes.
Could you, for our listeners and our audience, wrap up about your personal background? So I'm aware you have a proven background in the mining industry, yes, especially gold.
Yes. Well, I started my career in Australia in 1980. I lived there for 13 years, worked for several large mining companies, spent some time in New Guinea. In 1993, I was one of the few geologists that could speak Spanish in Sydney. I couldn't really speak it very well, but I could count to 10 and order a beer. So I ended up going to Latin America and working for Ross Beatty, who's a mining entrepreneur in Bolivia, and lived there for 8 years. And during that time, I went to Brazil for Ross. I identified a few very interesting gold prospects there that I recommended to the company. Then Bre-X happened, and everybody got laid off. I went to Peru and worked for Barrick and Newmont. But later on in 2003, I returned to Brazil on my own as an entrepreneur. I picked up a couple of the properties that I had previously known about, and I made two discoveries. One is called Tocantinzinho. It's owned by Eldorado Gold Corp, 2.2 million ounces. I had a royalty on that with my partner, which we just sold. The other main discovery in my life is Cuiú, which is 1.5 million ounces and owned by a company called Cabral. And then after 12 years of being in the jungle in Brazil, I figured I'd like to try someplace a little bit easier. Okay. And I looked around the world and I thought, well, where do they have rule of law, transparent rule of law, good infrastructure, and lots of gold? And I chose Nevada. And I've been kicking around Nevada for about 5 years. We picked up some properties and started a small company called Fremont Gold.
Thank you, Dennis. Before we come to Fremont Gold, maybe you have decades of experience in the mining industry. What's your opinion on the gold market right now?
I think we're at a turning point here. The past 6 years have been very difficult for the junior market scene, Canadian companies. The resource prices have been depressed. Gold in particular is, sold down from 1,500 to 1,200 a few years back, and the small companies have been struggling. But I've just attended some very interesting talks in Zurich, and if you look at the charts and you look at the macroeconomic environment around us, inflation's starting to come back. There's a fair amount of political uncertainty in the United States. The junior mining stocks on the charts that I've seen compared to the other equities markets look poised to make a return in the next 12 months. I think this is a very good time to invest. Fremont Gold is trading at 15 cents. It's incredibly undervalued. We've done reasonably well compared to our peers in the past 18 months. Most of the other junior stocks have actually gone down a reasonable amount, but we've stayed at 15 cents that entire time. Okay.
For an investor new to the Fremont story, what are the basic facts you want them to hear about?
Well, the basic facts about Fremont is three things. It's a team with proven track record. We've discovered approximately 4 million ounces. It's more or less serial success, one discovery after another.
This includes the works in Brazil, or
this is
in Nevada only?
No, this is stuff in Brazil, and my associate was involved with the discovery of Midway in Nevada. He's our VPX. Okay. So serial success, it's tightly held. There's only 43 million shares outstanding. Management and insiders control 27% of the shares. The friendly broker who helps us along, he and his clients control 9 million shares. So there's not a lot of paper out there.
Any institutionals?
Yes, US Global owns 3 million shares.
Okay.
And very well-known mining entrepreneur Dave Elliott participated in both financings, and I think he and his clients own about 4 million shares. So we're pretty well positioned, and the third leg is we have great properties. We have a mix of former producing mines that are next to McEwen Mining, who is about to go into production, and we have some blue sky and ground that we staked on the northern end of the Carlin Trend.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, but when we last talked in Toronto this year, you told me about this McEwen thing that you staked ground where the original mine was, and he was around that.
Well, that's our Gold Bar project,
yeah.
And McEwen Mining is constructing a mine that they call Gold Bar. They actually control the 4 of 5 satellite pits that are up the hill from the original Gold Bar mine. They both, the Gold Bar mine and the satellite pits, produced approximately 600,000 or 700,000 ounces between the two of them between 1986 and 1994. We acquired the original Gold Bar mine, which has a historic resource of 147,000 ounces at about 2.5 grams, which is 5 kilometers away. And it was the original Gold Bar mine, as I explained, southwest of where he's building his mine. They will be producing in the first quarter of 2019, scheduled to produce 64,000 ounces a year at a cash cost of about $780 an ounce. That's a pretty good internal rate of return. And in January, we picked up the 5th pit, which is basically the northwest extent of McEwen's ore body. It has a bit of ore in the pit. It's a target-rich environment. There's another stratigraphic horizon below that which was previously mined that also has ore in it. And I can see we will be able to develop at least 100,000 ounces and maybe more there, which would be a significant addition to what McEwen has.
Is McEwen looking around that property to potential new?
Possibly. I met with him just yesterday. He's a he's a gentleman, really nice guy. You know, he'll have a look at it, and at some point I think that they'll realize that it's kind of part of their ore body. The Gold Bar mine itself, which is 5 kilometers away, we have some very exciting geochemical, new interpretation of the structure and some very encouraging geochemical results, coincident gold and mercury anomalies just southeast of the old Gold Bar pit. We'll be drilling those in January, February, and we're hopeful that we'll be able to find another Gold Bar.
I hope so for you.
Yes,
and the shareholders.
We have a good shot at it, I think.
Okay, okay. Maybe you could wrap up for viewers. What is your strategy for the next 3 to, let's say, 5 years?
Yes.
In a good gold environment or in a gold environment that is not so good?
Okay, well, I anticipate that we're going to see improving gold prices and an improving market for the junior mining companies in the next 12 months, and that securing capital is going to become a lot easier. So in a good gold market, we're going to do some drilling this coming this first quarter of 2019. We will probably get some good results. In that case, the share price will go up. We'll raise a bit more money at a higher price. We will drill our existing Gold Bar and Gold Canyon properties, which are near McEwen, and we have some very prospective ground on the northern end of the Carlin Trend, where if we hit there, that would really be big news. and really would help the company. If we do intersect some gold on those properties at the northern end of the Carlin Trend, that's the kind of thing that would propel your share price and also interest other companies in acquiring you. And of course, for most of these junior mining companies, that's the end game, is to be bought out by a larger group.
Yeah, I understand. Anything you would like to add?
Well, you asked me in an environment that isn't so good. Well, the past year has been a bit tough. What you do is you're very careful with your capital. One of the things I would like to point out is that Fremont is cheap and cheerful. We are very good with the shareholders' money. Our burn rate's about $40,000 a month. Most of our senior guys are on reduced salaries. I have not collected my salary. I'm one of the few CEOs that in the first 6 months nobody got any salary, and then after that I've been booking my salary but haven't taken any money. You guard your capital and you do the work that you can afford to do. You keep advancing your projects, but you live to fight another day, and we've been doing that, and I think our share price reflects that. You know, we came out a year and a half ago at 15 cents. We went up and down a little bit, up to 22, as low as 10 cents, but we're at 15 and a half now. And in comparison to our peers, that's pretty good, and I think that reflects on the way that we've shepherded the shareholders' wealth.
Yeah, as an investor, I really appreciate
Yes.
the strategy if management really is careful about shareholders' money. And
Yes,
in a bad gold environment or in a bad broad market environment, it's really
that's important.
That's the key, because otherwise you dilute yourself.
Yes, and we only have 43 million shares at the moment, so that's and they're fairly tightly held. I've been in the mineral exploration industry since basically 1979. I've been through 6 downturns. This one has been one of the longest. And I see an end coming to it, and like the famous cartoon in The Northern Miner, I swear to God I'll sell next time.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
So
thank you for your time, Florian.
It was a pleasure, and I will shortly wrap it up for use.
Okay.
Okay. So, das war Dennis Moore von Fremont Gold, der President von Fremont Gold. Und ja, ich kann nur sagen, investier schön.
Thanks.